Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week we talked about supramundane consciousness, right? 8 type of supramundane consciousness. So actually, now we just finished 89, right? Actually, we have a 89 consciousness, 89 cittas. So if we enumerate in detail, it became 121, right? 121. Now let's look at 89. So if we enumerate these 89 citta by plane, so we have here, let me see. So if we multiply in plane by plane, here we have a sense sphere, 54 sense sphere consciousness. That is we call it Kama Vajra, right? Then we have a 55 material consciousness. That is we call it Rupa Vajra. And 12 immaterial sphere consciousness. It is the Arupa Vajra, right? Then we have 8 supramundane consciousness. So that is the Lokuttara citta. So altogether we have 89. So we can combine 55 material and 12 immaterial sphere consciousness as a sublime, 27 sublime, right? It is, we call it Mahagata. So they are called sublime because only those who attain, 27 jhanas, so they became sublime, they became holy, right? After they attain it. So in terms of plane, we have a 89, and but among the 54, we have a we can subdivide it into wholesome and wholesome, 12 and wholesome, 80 rootless, and 24 beautiful, right? Sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. So together 54. Among the 55 material sphere consciousness, so we can divide into 3: wholesome, 5 wholesome, 5 resident, and 5 functioning. So in the same way, our 12 immaterial sphere consciousness we can divide into 3: 4 unwholesome, 4 resident, 4 functional, right? So we can divide 8 supramundane consciousness into 2 path consciousness, 4 path consciousness, and 4 fruition consciousness. There is no functional consciousness. The reason is, if normal arahant do wholesome deed, just like teaching the Dhamma and doing the service, so we call it functional consciousness, right? But in the case of supramundane consciousness, the path consciousness, Magga Citta, arises only one time. If the Magga Citta arises, it destroys all the defilements, right? So it arises only one time. There's no chance for second time. So therefore, there will be no functional consciousness. Only Magga Citta arise for second and third time, there will be functional consciousness, right? So therefore, in Lokuttara Citta, there's no functional consciousness. At the same time, we don't have functional consciousness in unwholesome Citta as well. The reason is that arahant do not do any wrongdoings, right? So therefore, no functional consciousness. So this is a 89 Cittas, right? And I think we don't need to go in detail. So if you go in detail, very, very sleepy, you will go into sleep, eh? Sleep in jhana. The next one, so by kind, right? So in terms of kind or type, we have a 4, right? Unwholesome, unwholesome kind, wholesome kind, and resident kind, and functional kind, right? So we have, actually in Pali Canon, we have only 3. Unwholesome, wholesome, and indeterminate. In the many suttas, only 3. But in Abhidhamma, we divided indeterminate as the 2, resident and functional. The reason indeterminate means we cannot determine whether they are wholesome or unwholesome, right? Whether wholesome or unwholesome, we cannot determine, we cannot decide, we cannot say. So therefore, they are indeterminate, abhyagata. So this one is divided into 2, resident and functional, right? So in Abhidhamma, we have 4: unwholesome type, wholesome type, resident type, and functional type. Here, sense sphere consciousness. So as you know, we have a 54 sense sphere consciousness, right? Among 54, we have a 12 unwholesome kind, right? 12 unwholesome kind. And we have 8 wholesome consciousness. 8 wholesome consciousness. So actually, this is in among the 24 beautiful consciousness, right? Then regarding with the resident, we have a 23. We have a 7 unwholesome resident consciousness among the 80, right? Rootless consciousness. And also we have a rootless wholesome resident consciousness. 8 rootless wholesome consciousness. Altogether, we have a 15 resident consciousness in rootless Citta, right? And also we have 8 resident consciousness in the sense sphere beautiful consciousness. Do you like to call them in English or in Pali? Which one you prefer? English. Okay. Because for us, it is easier to call in Pali. But English a little bit difficult, right? So anyway, I will call that in English. So among the sense sphere consciousness, 54 sense sphere consciousness, we have a 23 resident. And I think you can go and read by yourself, right? Then we have a 11 3 functional consciousness among the 80 rootless consciousness, right? We have 8 functional consciousness in the sense sphere beautiful consciousness. Regarding with 5 material sphere consciousness, we don't have unwholesome consciousness, right? Then we have 5 wholesome, 5 resident, 5 functional. In material sphere consciousness, we don't have unwholesome consciousness. So we have 4 wholesome, 4 resident, 4 functional, right? And supramundane consciousness, we don't have unwholesome one. We have only 4 wholesome and 4 resident. There's no functional consciousness in supramundane consciousness, right? So then we can combine 12 unwholesome, 21 wholesome consciousness, 36 resident consciousness, 20 functional consciousness. So altogether 89, right? 89. So the reason it is a little bit boring, but we need to know it. So if you do not know, you will have a difficulty in the second chapter. After second chapter, you can forget everything, right? But in second chapter, you need to know. Of course, second chapter, you need to know the consciousness. So therefore, I always compare 9 chapter with we are building 9-story building, right? Very high one. So we need a good foundation. That is the first one, the first chapter. So if you are not on to say the where verse, or if you do not know the first chapter, especially different type of consciousness, right? And then you have a difficulty to learn the rest of the chapter. The second chapter, if you go to third and the rest of the chapter, you can forget about second one, right? What I want to say is the first one is the most important one. So therefore, we are repeating again and again. This is only 89, right? So if we calculate different type of consciousness according to 89 cittas, right? So we cannot count them as a feeling. The consciousness based on feeling. So the reason is when we are learning supramundane consciousness, we have only 8 supramundane consciousness. We cannot divide whether they are joy or equanimity or painful or pleasurable like this, right? So therefore, we cannot count as a feeling, the consciousness based on feeling. So we have a 40 supramundane consciousness, Lokuttara Citta. So we can elaborate or we can expand 8 supramundane cittas into 40. So this is we have a 8 supramundane consciousness in summary. If we elaborate, if we expand, right, these 8 cittas became 40. Why? But consciousness of stream entry, Sotapaddi Magga Citta. As you know, we have a 8 type of citta, right? Sotapaddi Magga, Sotapaddi Phala, Sakadagami Magga Phala, Anagami Magga Phala, Arahata Magga Phala, like this. So we have 8. So then the first one is multiplied by 5 jhanas. So we have only Sotapaddi Magga Citta, but if we multiply them, we have 5 jhana, right? 5 jhana Sotapaddi Magga Citta. So the same applies to each of the rest of the 7 supramundane cittas. So therefore, they became 40. 8 multiplying 5 equal 40. In this way, right? So we have a Sotapaddi Magga Citta, then we have to multiply with the 5 jhana, right? So they are called the supramundane jhana cittas. 40 supramundane jhana cittas. If we want to attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta, if we attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta by developing insight into jhana factors, the first jhana factor, so it is called the first jhana path consciousness or stream entry. So actually, it is mentioned in Jhana Sutta, in Anubbata Sutta. So if you read Jhana Sutta, it's clearer. So in that Sutta, the Buddha said that independent on the first jhana, we can attain. In that Sutta, the Buddha said, the distraction of the things. The distraction of the things. So that means, based on the first jhana, then one can become arahant. One can attain arahata, magga, citta, of la citta. If we firm on that, if we persist on that, then we, even though we cannot attain arahata, magga, and phala, we can become non-returner in the Sutta. It clearly said that based on the first jhana, then we can attain one of the supramundane consciousness. One of the supramundane consciousness. So it's mentioned that suppose you are in jhana, the first jhana, right? In the first jhana, we have a 5 jhana factor: the thought, examination, rapture, the pleasure, and one-pointedness of the mind, right? These are 5 jhana factors. So here, you develop insight into those jhana factors. Then while you are in the first jhana, you will have, you will experience 5 jhana factors, either thought or examination or rapture or pleasure or one-pointedness of mind, anyone. Then you will experience it. Then you notice their arising. Then you notice their disappearance. Arisings and disappearance. The thought come in and the thought disappear, right? The rapture come in, the rapture disappear. So that is called developing insight. Here, vipassana clearly means that you develop, you apply your wisdom, your insight wisdom, into the nature of conditioned phenomena, right? So here, conditioned phenomena means 5 aggregate: the thought, the examination, rapture, the pleasure, and one-pointedness of the mind, right? These are among the 5 aggregate. So you apply your wisdom, you develop your insight wisdom, the nature of those conditioned phenomena. The thought come and go. Examination come and go. The rapture come and go. Then you notice with the mindfulness. So you are practicing vipassana, right? So while you are in the first jhana, you practice vipassana. So then you can attain one of the supramundane consciousness. So if you attain, the moment you are developing insight into the first jhana factors, then you attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta. So it is called the first jhana path consciousness of stream entry, right? Stream entries. At the same time, then you attain second jhana, right? So while you are in second jhana, then you notice and you develop insight wisdom, the nature of the jhana factors. Come and go, right? While you are in samatha, you do not know, you do not notice, you do not analyze with your insight wisdom. You just apply mindfulness, that's all. Just mindful. And that is called samatha. But if you use your insight wisdom, the nature of those jhana factors, the thought will come in and disappear. The examination will come in and disappear. The rapture come in and disappear. Then you apply your insight wisdom with the powerful mindfulness, right? So by that time, you can attain Sotapaddi Magga or Sotapaddi Phala, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahata Magga, right? So here, if you attain by developing the first jhana factors, by developing insight into the first jhana factor, then you attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta. So it is called the first jhana path consciousness of street entry. The while you are in second jhana, you practice insight wisdom. Then you attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta, right? So it is called the second jhana path consciousness of stream entry. Then in the third jhana, same thing, the third jhana path consciousness of stream entry. And the fourth jhana, right? The fourth jhana. And the fourth jhana path consciousness of stream entry. In the fifth jhana, you practice vipassana during, so that is called the fifth jhana path consciousness of stream entry. So in this way, you have 5, right? In this way, you have 5. So I think that it is good to read 2 suttas to understand this one, right? So the first one is called Jhana Sutta. As you know, we have in the suttas, the sutta mention only 4 type of jhana, right? But Abhidhamma mention 5. So I have explained the reason why Abhidhamma elaborate 5, right? So actually, it is also mentioned in Sutta Pitaka in some of the places as well, right? But most of the time, the Sutta Pitaka follow 4th jhana, right? 4th jhana. So in this sutta, you also find the 4th jhana. So we have a 4, 5 material jhana, right? So during those jhana, 5 material jhana, then you can practice insight wisdom, the nature of jhana factor, right? Jhana factors. Then regarding with 4 immaterial jhana, right? So we have 4 immaterial jhanas. So we can practice insight wisdom or vipassana during the first 3 immaterial jhana. The first 3 the infinite, right? How to say that? Sorry? Space and consciousness and nothingness, right? So during those jhana, immaterial jhana, you can practice vipassana because you apply your insight wisdom and into the nature of those jhana factor. But here in Anupatta Sutta, so the Buddha talk about how Venerable Sariputta became Arahant in the Sutta. It's also a very beautiful Sutta. So if you read that Sutta, so you will find that not only in the Sutta, the Buddha mentioned 60 jhana factors, not only 5, right? 16 jhana factors. So then just like feeling, perception, energy, and volition, like this. So altogether we have 16 jhana factors. But so only 5 jhana factors are prominent, right? Prominent. Normally in the jhana. So the rest are not very prominent. So therefore, Abhidhamma take it 5 jhana factor, right? So what I want to say is, in Anupada Sutta, the Buddha talk about how Venerable Sariputta became Arahant. Actually, the Buddha said that Venerable Sariputta, he entered the first jhana, right? Within the first jhana, and he noticed how those jhana factors arises and present and disappear. Here, 3, right? 3 mind movement. Arises, present, just for a while, then disappear, right? Then he contemplate in this way. And second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. Immaterial, the first jhana, immaterial, second, third jhana, right? But in the case of the fourth immaterial jhana, neither perception or non-perception, right? Look at the name, neither perception or non-perception. So by that time you attain the fourth immaterial jhana, so it look like you don't have feeling or perception, but you still have it, a very subtle level, right? So therefore, at the fourth immaterial jhana, you cannot practice vipassana. You cannot practice vipassana. The reason is, so vipassana have to develop based on the jhana factor, right? But the moment you attain the fourth immaterial jhana, the jhana factors are not prominent, so subtle that it look like nothing, right? So therefore, both of the Sutta said that the moment you attain the fourth immaterial jhana, you cannot practice insight meditation by that time. That you have to emerge from the jhana, then only you have to examine, right? Examine how jhana factors arises and disappear, disappear. Then you have to practice vipassana, right? Then in this way we will be 8 jhana, right? 8 jhana. So the last one is called Nirodha Samapatti, cessation attainment. So when you enter cessation attainment, you don't have any consciousness or any mental factor at all. You don't have it. So all the mental factor, all the consciousness cease totally. But during that attainment also you cannot practice insight meditation. You cannot practice vipassana. Then you have to emerge from it. Then only after that you have to examine how jhana fact, not jhana is, it's not called jhana. How consciousness and mental factor arises and disappear, right? The nature of those citta and cittasika. So if you read the Sutta, you will find in this way, right? In this way. We have a question that normally we understand that 5 material jhana, we have 5, right? The first jhana, second, third, fourth, and fifth. How about immaterial jhana? How we can incorporate? Actually, one of the scholarmen said that immaterial jhana are not called jhana in Pali Canon. It's called immaterial attainment, right? But Abhidhamma we call immaterial jhana, right? Immaterial jhana. So actually it is partly right or partly not right. I will say that. Because when we read the Sutta carefully, actually immaterial jhana have to be developed based on the fifth jhana, right? The fifth jhana. So therefore, we call them as the fifth jhana, right? The fifth jhana. Because immaterial jhana have to be developed based on the fifth five material jhana, right? Here, the point here is the immaterial jhana can be called the fifth jhana. So here, you develop insight, you practice vipassana during the first jhana, then you attain, by that time, by that moment, then you attain Sotapaddi Magga Citta. So such type of consciousness is called the first jhana, path consciousness of stream entry. Then if it is a fruition consciousness, that can be called the first jhana, fruition consciousness of stream entry, right? Then we can replace the first jhana with the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and fifth jhana. So in this way, we have a five path consciousness of stream entry, right? Then I noted this one. By developing insight wisdom into the jhana factors of the rest of the four jhanas, one can attain the second, third, fourth, and fifth Sotapaddi Magga jhana cittas. In this way, we have a five Sotapaddi Magga citta, right? In the same way, three Magga citta, we also have a three Magga citta, right? And four Phala citta have to be multiplied by five jhanas. So in this way, they become 40 Lokuttara citta, right? So each one of the 8 Supramundane consciousness have to be multiplied with the 5 jhanas. The reason is we can attain those Supramundane consciousness independent on based on the 5 jhana, right? Any question? Okay, no question. Let's go. Two way, you understand. Another way, you don't understand. Okay, I hope you understand. Then, how about we have a question before whether we can attain enlightenment without jhana, right? Without jhana. Actually, it can be, because Abhidhamma said that practitioner, meditator without jhana. Those who develop insight wisdom into sense sphere conditioned phenomena. As you know, we have a 54 sense sphere consciousness, right? Based on those 54 sense sphere consciousness, then we practice vipassana. Suppose you have a lobha citta, right? Together with the joy, accompany prompted, right? The first type of lobha citta. Then you mindfully you contemplate the nature of your mind. Then lobha citta arises and disappears, right? Then you can even meditate on your unwholesome citta. Then you become arahant. Suppose. So actually, lobha citta is sense sphere conditioned phenomena, right? Sense sphere consciousness. Based on such type of consciousness, then you become arahant, right? There are many cases. So one of the monk was all the way chanting near the Bodhi tree, and in previous life he also contemplated the quality of the Buddha in the previous life. So based on those previous karmas, and also he is inclined to practice the quality of the Buddha, Buddha-nosity, right? Then by that time he has joy in his mind, a rapture in his mind. The rapture, he noted that rapture arises and disappears. Arises and disappears. Actually, this is one of the citta in the 24 sincere beautiful consciousness, right? One of the citta. Then he apply or he developed insight wisdom. The rapture came into being and disappear, right? So actually, the moment he is contemplating the quality of the Buddha, and it is called samatha. But later, he has a lot of joy in his mind, a lot of rapture in his mind. It is so prominent that he used his insight wisdom. Those mental factor arises and disappear, arises and disappear. Then he practiced insight wisdom, right? Vipassana. Then he became arahant. For those when we can call the fifth, we call it the practitioner of bare insight. The practitioners of bare insight. So without jhana, they attain supramundane consciousness, right? Without jhana. Based on sense-sphere conditioned phenomena, sense-sphere cittas. So they practice vipassana, then they attain supramundane consciousness, right? Supramundane consciousness. So they are called sukha vipassana. Sukha vipassana means here, sukha means dry insight, dry, nothing. Here dry means dry of jhana, no jhana, right? No jhana. So therefore, if we answer the question whether we can attain enlightenment without jhana, based on this one we can answer, right? We can answer anything. Now you are listening my voice, right? Then you have ear consciousness. The ear consciousness come into being and disappear. Another ear consciousness come in and come and go, right? Then you practice inside wisdom. You practice vipassana into my voice, right? So that is actually ear consciousness is one of the 54 consciousness, right? The without jhana, but you can attain enlightenment, right? Enlightenment. So based on that, we call it practitioners of bare insight, sukha vipassana, right? Sukha vipassana. So even though they do not practice based on jhanas, so their supramundane attainments are counted as a first jhana because they closely contemplate the object, upanade jhana. Regarding the meaning of jhana, we have two definitions, right? So one definition is you burn off the hindrances. You burn away and you burn desire, sensual desire, right? Sensual desire. And burn or destroy the hindrances. So that is a popular definition of jhana, right? So only after you burn all the hindrances, then you attain jhana. If there is one of the hindrances, it still exists in your mind, still lingering in your mind, it's not jhana, right? It's not jhana. So the first definition of jhana is burning or killing of the hindrances. The first definition. So another one is contemplating, closely contemplating the object. Right now, you are practicing insight meditation. So one of the 54 consciousness, right? 54 consciousness. It can be consciousness, it can be matter. Suppose one of the You know Kemateri? Kemateri is one of the queen of King Bimbisara. She's very beautiful. She is proud of herself. And she think that she heard that. The Buddha always said that. So this body is ugly, not attractive. So actually, she is too much attachment in her beauty, right? In her beauty. So therefore, he dare not to go to the monasteries. The King Bimbisara, created a condition, and he told Queen Kema the beauty of Veluvana monasteries, how beautiful and how quiet, how peaceful it is. Then, of course, later she is willing to go to the Veluvana monasteries. Then the Buddha knew that, and the Buddha created a very beautiful lady nearby him, Fanzin, right? Fannin. Then the queen came, and she know that. She saw that lady, very beautiful lady, more beautiful than herself, right? Then later the Buddha created the beautiful lady getting older and older, and getting getting old and old, right? Later she died. So the queen came. Finally she realized the nature of impermanence, right? By looking at that incident, she became Sotapanna. I forgot Sotapanna I did. So here, by looking at material phenomena, right? The appearance of the beautiful lady, then she practiced insight, right? Vipassana. Then she became Sotapanna. So it is a material phenomena is a not jhana, right? Not jhana. So therefore, we can call such attainment as a practitioners of bare insight. Normally, Sukha Vipassaka call for Arahant. Normally for Arahant. And for those who are reading Dhammavara commentary, so the first story is second story is the story of Cakkapala, right? Cakkapala, not Cakkapala. Because when I was in Sri Lanka, many people asked me my name. When I ask Cakkapala, they always say Cakkapala. Because they're very close, right? Very close. The second story is the story of Cakkapala. And he also became Arahant without jhana, right? Without jhana. So he is called Sukha Vipassaka, right? Sukha Vipassaka. Okay, so now we have a 5-part consciousness of stream entry. Actually, it is not new. The first jhana path consciousness of stream entry, together with thought, vitaka, examination, vichara, rapture, piti, pleasure, sukha, and one-pointedness, ekagata. So 5 jhana factor, right? 5 jhana factor. And second jhana path consciousness of stream entry, together with examination, rapture, pleasure, and one-pointedness. So there's no thought, right? The jhana is more powerful. And that one, with the rapture, pleasure, and one-pointedness, that jhana. And the 4th jhana, together with pleasure and one-pointedness. And the 5th one, together with equanimity and one-pointedness. So in this way, we have a 5-part consciousness of stream entry. And we also have 5 fruition consciousness of stream entry. And we have a 5-part consciousness of one's returning, right? The fruition consciousness of one's returning and non-returning and erratorship, right? Erratorship. So in this way we have a 80 supramundane consciousness. Any question? Okay, then let's go. Now we have a we can combine all type of jhana cittas. So altogether we have a 67 jhana cittas. 67 jhana cittas. Right? Jhana cittas. Actually, it's very not difficult. As you know, we have a 55 material jhana. The 5 wholesome consciousness, 5 resident consciousness, 5 functional consciousness. The 5 are the first jhana, second, third, fourth, and fifth, right? So in this way. And immaterial jhana, we don't have second one. First, second, third, fourth, we don't have. Only fifth, right? Fifth jhana. So, supramundane, 40 supramundane consciousness. We have a 4 wholesome, the first 4 wholesome, right? And we have 20 wholesome consciousness. 20 here is a Magga citta. And we have a 20 resident consciousness, right? Altogether 40. So Manta, we have a 4 wholesome, the first jhana, and 4 resident, the first jhana. So altogether we have a 11 the first jhana, then 11 second jhana, 11 third jhana, 11 fourth jhana, and we have a 23 fifth jhana. The reason 23 is here, look at immaterial jhana, right? So there is immaterial jhana, there is only fifth jhana here. So therefore, the fifth jhana became 23. So altogether we have a 67 jhana cittas. So the rest are 54 sense sphere consciousness. So those 54 consciousness are called non-jhana consciousness, non-jhana citta, right? Then up to now, we have counted 121 cittas. 121 citta. Page number 28. Page number 28. So we have among them, we have 81 mundane cittas. So if we combine with the 8 supramundane consciousness cittas, it became 89. But if we combine with the 40 supramundane consciousness, it became 121 citta, right? So here, sense sphere cittas. We have 54 sense sphere cittas. So we have counted before with 12 unwholesome cittas. Great rooted cittas with 8 great rooted citta and 2 hatred rooted cittas and 2 delusion rooted cittas. And please look at the page number 35. 35. Page number 35. Then the unwholesome cittas, right? The unwholesome cittas. So there we have a 8 greed-rooted consciousness, right? 8 greed-rooted consciousness. So Manda 8 accompanied by joy, right? We have 4 consciousness accompanied by joy. And we have another 4 consciousness accompanied by equanimity. So if we are counting 121 consciousness based on feeling, now we have 4 accompanied by joy, right? 4 consciousness accompanied by joy, and 4 consciousness accompanied by equanimity. Then we have a 2 hatred-rooted consciousness. It is accompanied by displeasure. And we have a 2 delusion-rooted consciousness. They are accompanied by equanimity. Then if we summarize, so we have a feeling accompanied by joy, right? We have only 4 type of feeling accompanied by joy. And we have a 6 type of consciousness accompanied by equanimity. And we have a 2 type of consciousness accompanied by displeasure. So we have to calculate in this way. If you do not know in this way, have a difficulty to go next chapter. Actually, Bhikkhu Bodhi didn't mention this one. I think it's good to know, right? Good to know. So in the 12 unwholesome cittas, we have a 4 joyful feeling, right? We have a 6 equanimity feeling. We have a 2 displeasure feeling. So we have to know like this, right? Then please look at page number 43. 43. So Mandan, we have a 80 rootless citta, right? 80 rootless cittas. So we can divide into 3 rootless consciousness of unwholesome resident. Rootless, unwholesome resident consciousness. We have 7, right? When you see unpleasant things, very bad things, when you hear, when you touch, when you smell, when you eat unpleasant things, that is because of unwholesome deed, right? That when you receive those unpleasant things, when you examine, right? So receiving, investigation. So altogether we have 7, right? So among them, when you look at 7 type of consciousness, so which are unwholesome resident, right? So Mandan, we have a 6 equanimity feeling. 6 equanimity feeling. And we have a 1 painful feeling. Now here we have a 6 equanimity, and among the 12 unwholesome citta, we have a 6. Altogether, 12, right? Altogether, 12. It's a little bit boring, but you have to know it. You have to know it, right? Here we have 1 painful feeling, right? Painful feeling. And look at the wholesome resident consciousness. So we have 8 rootless unwholesome consciousness. So when you look at that one, we have a 6 equanimity feeling, right? 6 equanimity feeling. And we have a 1 pleasure feeling. 1 pleasure feeling. We have a 1 joyful feeling. Joyful feeling. Actually, we will use English usage, not Pali one, right? Pali one. So here, we have already counted 12 equanimity feeling. Here we have 8 equanimity feeling altogether. 80, right? 80 equanimity feeling up to now. And we have 2 displeasure feeling. And we have 1 painful feeling. And we have 1 pleasure feeling. And we have 1 pleasure feeling, right? So when you look at 3 functional consciousness, we have 2 equanimity feeling. So altogether now 20, right? 20 equanimity feeling. And here we have 1 joyful feeling. So now we have to count. We have 4 joyful feeling from 12 and Citta. Here in root-like consciousness, we have 2 joyful feeling, right? So altogether 6. Please look at page number 47. Page number 47. So we have a sense sphere, beautiful Citta. We have 24 sense sphere, beautiful Cittas. If you know the first 8, then you know the rest. As you know, we have a 8 wholesome consciousness, 8 resident consciousness, 8 functional consciousness, right? So the first one, we have 8 wholesome consciousness. And we have 4 joyful feeling, 4 equanimity feeling, right? 4. Before we counted how many equanimity feeling? 20. Now we have 4. 24, right? How about joyful feeling? 6 and 4. Altogether 10, right? Altogether 10. Actually, from here onward, so we can forget about painful feeling, pleasure feeling, and displeasure feeling. So actually, we have only 2 type of displeasure feeling, 1 type of painful feeling, 1 type of pleasurable feeling, right? So we have to count. We have to take note only 2 feeling, equanimity and joy, right? Equanimity and joy. So up to now we have a 24 equanimity feeling, right? Then 10 joyful feeling. Then at the same, we also have a 8 resident consciousness, right? 8 resident consciousness. So among the 8 resident consciousness, we have a 4 joyful feeling, 4 equanimity feeling. Then up to now, we have a 28 equanimity feeling and 40, right? 40 joyful feeling. Then functional consciousness, same thing. You add another 4. Then equanimity feeling, how many? 32, right? 32. Joyful feeling? Joyful feeling. Then previously we counted as a 40, right? Now added another 4, 80. 80 and 32. 80 and 32. Then look at the page number 55. Then we have a 55 material sphere Cittas, right? So man then, so 1 jhana to the first jhana to the 4th jhana, they are counted as a joyful feeling. The reason is it's together with rapture and pleasure, right? We count that as a joyful feeling. The 5th one is counted as a equanimity feeling. The reason is it is together with equanimity and one-pointedness of the mind. So therefore, if we count 5 material sphere consciousness, we have 3 equanimity feeling. The rest will be joyful feeling. So up to now we have 3 equanimity feeling. Previously, how many we counted? 32. Then add another 3, 35, right? Then how about now we have a 12 joyful feeling. Before we counted 80, right? 80 and 12 altogether 30, and 30 and 35. Okay, right? And we have a 12 immaterial jhana. So 12 immaterial jhana are together with equanimity and one-pointedness of the mind. So we count them as a equanimity feeling. Then we add another 12 into 36, right? 35. Oh, no. We have to add 12 into 35. Altogether, 47, right? 47. Then we have 47 equanimity feeling. Then, how many? 30 and 30 joyful feeling. Okay. Then we look at 80 Supramundane consciousness, right? So then we have 8 fifth jhana. That means 8 equanimity feeling. The amount that 37, right? Or 47. Then we add 8. So altogether 55. Now we have 55 equanimity feeling. Then the rest means 32, right? 32 Supramundane consciousness jhana consciousness. So it is we have to add 32 into 30 altogether 62, right? I forgot. So previously how much we 30 join, or with we have to add another 32. Yeah, 62, right? 62. Now it's clear that we have a 5 type of feeling, and joy, right? Joy, we have a 62 joyful feeling, and we have a 55 equanimity feeling, right? And we have a 2 displeasure feeling, and we have a 1 painful feeling. We have a 1 pleasure feeling. Sorry? We have to count, yeah. I forgot this one. Sorry? I mean, when you are in meditation, you don't need to count. But here we are counting for the study, not for the meditation, right? Meditation, only when mind movement will arise, you just notice. So when mind movement arises, you just notice that arises, disappear. You don't need to count in your meditation, right? You don't need to count. So actually, I forgot to count that one based on feeling, right? We have a 62 joyful feeling. We have a 55 equanimous feeling. We have a 2 displeasure feeling. We have a 1 painful feeling. We have a 1 pleasure feeling. So altogether, 121, right? 121. So I forgot to do it. Okay, question. Yeah. Yeah. nature or kind. Yeah. Sorry? You want to know why we should do that, right? Why I'm feeling, right? Mm-mm. Because regarding with the feeling, we have a cluster of discourses in Samdha Nikaya. So it is called Vedana Sanyota. The discourses that are connected with the feeling. So mostly in the Samdha Nikaya, the Buddha mentioned only 3 types of feeling, right? One is a pleasurable, pleasant feeling. One is unpleasant feeling. Another one is equanimity feeling or neutral feeling, right? 3 types. The reason we should count, the reason why we must know is that, so in that discourses, the Buddha clearly said that if we have pleasant feeling, last is last is a underlying tendency. Last is a underlying tendency. Another one we can call greed, lobha, is a underlying tendency if we are not mindful. But of course, we will see pleasant things, right? If we see pleasant things, then we will have pleasant feeling. If we are not mindful, lust or greed is likely to arise. So therefore, we need to know pleasant feeling or joyful feeling, right? So when there is a joyful feeling in our mind, and we must be mindful, we must know that, right? So that the greed or lust will not arise, right? Therefore, the Buddha said that there is only one way to attain Nibbana, or there is only one way to get rid of all the problem, all the suffering, right? In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, mindfulness. Then, if we see unpleasant things, unpleasant feeling, right? Here, unpleasant feeling means it can be a painful feeling, it can be displeasure feeling, according to fight scheme, right? If we see unpleasant things, the unpleasant feeling likely to arise. So the Buddha used patigha-nusaya. Patigha-nusaya means underlying tendency regarding with awe or anger, underlying tendency. Then we see or we hear unpleasant things. Then normally, if we are not mindful, the anger or awe arises in our mind, right? In our mind. Therefore, we must know unpleasant feeling. The reason is, so only we know that feeling as the unpleasant feeling, we'll be mindful. Mindfulness, right? Mindfulness. So there's no chance for anger, or there's no chance for awe, right? Awe. So that is a second type. Another type is called neutral feeling, right? Actually, in Pali, it's not upekha, it's a atokha masukha. Neither pleasant or unpleasant. Neutral feeling. But if there is neutral feeling, ignorance is likely to arise. If there is neutral feeling, ignorance is likely to arise. Avijja-nusaya. Underlying tendency regarding with the ignorance, right? So therefore, we must know even neutral feeling. We must be mindful even neutral feeling. So if we're not mindful, ignorance or delusion, moha will arise, right? So therefore, the Buddha talk about 3 types of feeling in Vedana Sanyutta. So therefore, we must know 3 types of feeling. Here, we contact based on 5 feeling, right? 5 feeling. Actually, in Indriya Sanyutta faculty, right? So Indriya Sanyutta, the Buddha talk about 5 types of feeling. So we follow that method, right? So Abhidhamma follow that method. Okay. Any question? Okay, so up to here we are learning 121 type of cittas, right? Then sense sphere citta, we have 54 sense sphere citta, 12 unwholesome citta, 80 Lokuttara citta, and we have a 24 sense sphere beautiful cittas. Then we have a 5 material sphere citta, 5 material sphere cittas, and we have a 12 immaterial sphere cittas. So up to here we call it 81 mundane cittas, right? 81 mundane cittas. So they are just how to say the log here, mundane one, right? Mundane one. So in other words, we call it samsara, right? Samsara. We are always going around these consciousnesses, right? The consciousnesses. Then we have a 80 supramundane cittas. So in summary, we have 8, right? If we expand or if we elaborate, we have 40. And we have a 5 part of street entry, 5 part of one's returning, 5 non-returning, 5 arrangement, and also fruition. So we have a 5 fruition consciousness or street entry, 5 one's returning, 5 non-returning, 5 arrangement. So altogether we have a 40. Then it became 121 consciousness or cittas. So I think as a normal people, we don't have jhana cittas. We don't have supramundane consciousness. Even among the 54, we don't have functional consciousness. So actually, we are doing unwholesome, 12 unwholesome consciousness. We are doing 16, right? No functional consciousness. 16. Sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. Sometimes we do good things, right? With the wholesome consciousness. And we have a 8 type of resident consciousness. Then we also have a we don't also have a 80 type of rootlet consciousness. Among them, we don't have one, right? One type. That arises only in the minds of Arahant, right? Arahant. So what we have is very few. Not all. Not all. And most importantly, we must know that each moment, only one mind movement arises, right? One mind movement arises. Then that come into existence, stay for a while, and disappear. Another mind movement coming, right? And disappear. So the movement of the mind is very, very quick. So according to commentaries, so in one finger snap, right? One finger snap, billions of mind movement can happen, right? Billions of mind movement can happen. In Lokuttara Nikaya, the Buddha said that there is no example to show how quick the movement of the mind is. Mind is, how to say that, very quick. That There is no example to show. The Buddha said that. So what the Buddha said is this one. But commentary said that within one finger snap, billions of mind movement can arise. So anyway, mind is very important. So therefore the Buddha said that Mano Popingama Dhamma, Mano Citta, Mano Maya. The first stanza in Dhammapada. Mind is forerunner of everything, right? We do something, we speak something, we think something. It's followed by the mind, right? So therefore, as a Buddhist, we trying to take care of our mind, right? We trying to take care of our mind, trying to trying to develop a good mind, right? Then trying to develop concentration wisdom. That is higher, right? That's highest. So mind is very important. I think up to now we have a 121 type of consciousness. So we know roughly about our mind. Actually, for me, I think that among the 9 chapters, second one is the most important. The reason is that in the second chapter, so we will have to learn mental factors. Mental factor means the mind, type of mind. We call it a type of mind. A type of mind. It happened, right? So we will have to learn about greed. The greed is one of the mental factor. Hatred, one of the mental factor. Jealousy, like this, right? So these are mental factor. These are the factors that constitute the mind. So therefore, I think that second chapter is the most important one to analyze our mind, to know about our mind, right? So I think that in the second chapter, I was trying to explain 52 type of mental factors in detail, based on the sutta, right? Based on the suttas. Any question? Okay. Yeah. Vipassana? Okay. Yeah.
So, are we supposed to watch the rising of this, the cause of this unpleasant feeling, to understand anger, discomfort?
Not the cost. Not the cause. Actually, vipassana means just carefully observing the present moment. Present moment, right? Now you have an unpleasant feeling. Suppose a depression, right? Then you have a depression in your mind. Normally, we are not aware. Vipassana here means you just observe a state of your mind right now. Right now, we have a depression, suppose depression, right? Depression arises. Another depression arises. Another depression arises. Like this, continuously, a lot of depression, right? So therefore, we have a 1 minute depression, 10 minutes depression, like this, right? Or 1 minute anger, 10 minutes anger, like this. But in Vipassana case, of course, we need to have a certain degree of concentration, stability of the mind, right? If we are thinking a lot of things, right? A lot of things, our mind is not stable, not concentrated. So we need a certain level of concentration. Then based on that concentration, so we observe the nature of our mind, or depression or anger by that time. The anger or depression arises and disappears. Arises, disappears. Arises, disappears. if you're just looking at that depression, right? Depression. So it is called vipassana. Not finding off the causes, right? Not the causes. Any question? So I think that we finish I didn't finish, right? Finish a 121 type of consciousness, right? And if we summarize in summary, 89, right? So next week we are learning second chapter, 52 mental factor, right? Okay, we're close to.
Vada tham phava romanu Jesu Sakya Muni Bhagava Kata Kichu Paragato Bala Viriya Samangi Tam Suga Tam Sarana Tamu Pemi Raga Viraga Mani Jama Sokam Dhamma Masang Pahama Patikulam Madhura Mimang Pagunam Subibatam Dhammami Bangsananatamu Pemi Yata Chadina Mahapalamahu Chatusu Susi Supurisa Yugesu Atacha Pugala Dhammada Sate Sangami Mangsaranatamu Pemi Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Thank you, Bhante.